Look what I've got. It's snake oil. I'm not really sure why I bought it. Maybe because the woman who sold it to me kept saying over and over that it would cure everything and it would make my vision better. So who doesn't want that? And no one told me that it wouldn't work. And it's true, she lies kind of a lot. But this time maybe she's telling the truth. Plus, she said she hadn't eaten for a whole week and she really needed the money. I felt sorry for her, so I gave her the money for the snake oil. It's not fair for her to go without. Do you think I should drink it? I'll decide at the end of the video whether or not I'm going to drink it. This same lady who sold the snake oil, she's written a letter. It's not just to me, it's to all of us. So I'm going to read that letter to you and respond to it. This letter is from Sarah Boone. It is dated May 15th, 2023. Judge Wooten, Frank Bankowitz, whole wide world. Oh, see, that's us. She is talking to the public, as much of the public who she can get to listen to her. Perspective, Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Oh boy. I wonder how many people are going to actually look up the definition to see if it's the same. No, Sarah, everybody already knows what it means. I wonder also how many website hits the word perspective will get. What? She's not that famous. Definition 1. The science of painting or drawing so that objects represented have apparent depth and distance. 2. The aspect in which a subject or its parts are mentally viewed. A view of things as objects or events in their true relationship or relative importance. Okay? So what? I guess she's going to tell us something. Please review so everyone. What? Please review like all the court staff and the judge and the attorneys? Or is she telling the judge to review it with the class, i.e. the public? Or maybe we're all supposed to review it and look it up because we don't know what perspective is. So everyone has a clearer, better understanding of my continued concerns, hindrances, questions, and frustrations with the, quote, justice system and the solid absolute remissness of my case and the due process of I am and have been waiting. I hate her sentence structure. Very patiently and maintaining what I can since no one else has or will, it seems. And I feel at this point, 6 attorneys later, 39 months, almost 3.5 years, which I will make. And not by choice. No, because when you lock someone in a suitcase and don't let him out and he dies, you go to jail. I need to make all aware of my immense struggle with the extreme mismanagement of my case to date. Has it gone perfectly? No, it hasn't. As that happens with many of them. Mismanagement, though? Is she going to prove that? I know that she's been complaining, repeating certain things, like repeating that the snake oil will cure everything. If you just drink it, it'll improve your vision. Repeating it in a manner no one can argue with because it's not the proper channel. So only her narrative is out there. None of what she's saying has been proven. In fact, she has slipped up and has proven she's not telling the whole truth. So if she wants to prove malfeasance or mismanagement, then let her take it through the proper channel. Let's look at the bigger picture or perspective to get a better view of what I've had more than enough time to see and realize. Oh my gosh, she's spending time thinking and seeing. Is she going to see the light? Has she realized that she was wrong? That maybe she needs to change? Is she going to say she's sorry for what happened to Mr. Torres? She's sorry for what she did to Mr. Torres? I won't hold my breath. I'm hoping by doing so, eyes can finally be opened. The person with their eyes shut the tightest is Sarah, and very overdue, longed for progress and finalization can be had. I think to her, finalization isn't really even a trial. She has been setting up for months and months this idea of ineffective assistance of counsel. But it doesn't matter what the public thinks. She has to actually prove it. And lawyers keep records. You know, Sarah can afford to play the long game. She'll get credit for time served. She's probably been told by multiple lawyers that it's not looking good for her if she has a trial and she's convicted. To her, that's not finalization. But then she has a big problem. If she goes to trial and she's convicted, she can no longer hang on to the concept in her own mind that it wasn't intentional and I'm not guilty. Once she's convicted, all this attention from the public goes away. Then what? She has to serve her time without all the attention. The growing amass of ignorance, manipulation, slander, and advantageous gain must stop. What? Is she talking about people talking about her? I don't know what to say here. She had the opportunity to tell the truth right in the beginning, and she did not. She stuck with we're playing hide and seek. And I fell asleep and it was unintentional. That's what she's sticking with. Except the facts that have come out show that those things aren't true. That's not exactly what happened. My truth needs to be heard and it is my right. Yes, it is her right to say her side. And it is her right to do so in a proper court. Nobody's saying that's not going to happen or that can't happen. She said my truth before. There's a big difference between my truth and the truth. Do not give me rights expecting me not to fully utilize them. Of course. I voted for the president and governor while here in jail. Okay? And stop violating what I've been trying to utilize or lessen the value of my capabilities and opportunities. Interesting. There's so much of this is about her perception of herself and how other people see her. I am not apologetic in any way for being an observant, hardworking, above average, non-stereotypical inmate. I can only imagine, sadly, how others not as outspoken as myself have been and are being mistreated, overlooked, and dehumanized. There's that saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. But, she's not actually helping herself. There's a implied suggestion here that she's doing okay because she's been outspoken, whereas others who aren't outspoken are not doing okay. But she's saying she's not doing okay. So get it together. What is it that somebody has been violating what she's been trying to utilize? She's not saying what that is. Or lessen the value of my capabilities. Did somebody say something like this about her capabilities? And what opportunities is she talking about? Are we talking in custody or out of custody? She wasn't doing anything with her capabilities and opportunities while she was out. I am not apologetic in any way for being observant. No one's asking her to be apologetic for all that. This is a pep talk to herself. Judge Wayne C. Wooten. At what point do you evaluate and intercede in a case? Is she saying intercede or is she meaning interfere? Because that's what it sounds like. Is he supposed to call up Bankowitz and say, here's how you run a file? What does she want the judge to do? This is bizarre. The sense of entitlement and superiority, there's no limit. Make sure there is proper advancement, regular communication between the attorney and client, ethical treatment of client is being upheld, time frames are being met, etc. The judge knows his role. I'm just kind of gobsmacked by this. The arrogance. She's so condescending. Maybe she should look that up in the dictionary. Clearly you know of and have known of the prolongation of my difficulties from your comments regarding my letters, but with no intervention from you to change anything for a better, less problematic process. You've told me in the past when I've tried to voice my legitimate concerns to you in the courtroom 5 times total in 3.3 years, and in my letters to save it for my next attorney. Yeah, you're supposed to talk to your attorney. Yes, I know she claims she doesn't talk to him, but she does. She's proven it with some snake oil. If told anything at all, when you tell somebody something 5 times, or 3 times, you just stop answering them.
What? Nothing? Nothing happened. Where's the confetti? Where's the balloons? Isn't 3 the number of the day?
Do tell, Your Honor, which attorney. I'm on my 6th, whom I've not seen in person for over another 3-month period. 12 weeks, 89 days, and counting. I'll repeat it again. Not seeing him in person is not the same as not communicating with him. She is playing word games. She is playing with the truth. She did this in her other letters. Oh, I haven't talked to you on the phone, but she talked to him in person. How much hand holding does this guy have to do? Frank J. Bankowitz has been appointed as my attorney by the court to represent me in my case and has been for 10 months and counting. Total approximate hours of representation, 7,200. We're going to bother doing the math. Total times attorney met with client, Sarah Boone, because we don't know who she is, 6. Phone numbers given to client by attorney, 2. Man, she doesn't like that. You gave me a phone number and I can't reach you on it, and so I'm just going to harp forever. In 20 years from now, she's going to be saying, he gave me 2 phone numbers and didn't answer when I wanted. Phone call is answered from client by attorney 0. He can't just answer his phone every time you call. It probably is set up like that. Not unusual. Outside source is calling attorney on behalf of client. 3. He can't talk to some third party. Letters client sent to attorney trying to communicate. 7. Letters defendant client sent to judge trying to communicate. Animate attorney in unsuccessfulness. 5. 15-minute video visits between attorney and client. 3. Attended court date scheduled. 2. I was an attempted withdraw. The other on allowance to finally be included in my PTC, which was the same information carried over from all the others. Now what? When your lawyer tells you, actually, you don't need to be there because nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to happen. Why are you enabling my constitutional rights to be continuously violated? Wow. Enabling the violation of the constitutional rights of an inmate in the United States of America. That is a serious allegation. And leveled at a judge, that allegation is astounding. His refusal to be her little puppet, her personal assistant, doesn't mean her rights are violated. And having a right doesn't mean the sky's the limit. History lesson for everyone. First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth, Sixth, Eighth, 14th Amendment. That's not a history lesson. Why am I being judged for my legitimate letters? She keeps using legitimate concerns, legitimate letters. It's convincing language here. She knows that it's not legitimate. She knows that the letters are written for public consumption. She's been very clear about that. But she's calling them legitimate letters. So it makes me think twice when she says legitimate concerns over and over. Legitimate letters I write in order to know the status of my case. She knows the status of her case. Or attorney. And how much longer before something substantial occurs in the progress of 3.3 years later. Actually, that is a long time to wait for a trial. Other than the inappropriate prejudgments being made due to the excessive amount of my case information online. What? She puts it out there specifically for the public, sometimes even addressing the public. But now she's upset that too much information is out online. Bigger and meaner fabrications of my case-sensitive details in which I've not seen. What? Are there case-sensitive details out in the public that she has not seen? What's that? I mean, she was present during the 911 call. She was present on scene when the body cam footage is out there. She was present at her interrogation. She was present when she made that video of Mr. Torres. I mean, she knows more than we do. I mean, the only thing she might not know is what other witnesses said about her. But I'm having trouble believing that. How is it case sensitive? And even greater mind-numbing one-sided ignorance ? Whose side the ignorance is on is debatable. I think that's just her harpooning anybody who doesn't side with her. If you don't have an actual argument, you make a personal attack. If I didn't write my letters, would you or anyone be aware of all my rightful concerns? Convincing word again, rightful concerns. Still and ongoing. Very good, Sarah, for admitting that. She keeps confirming that she is writing to the public. Is a perpetual question mark over a defendant's head the norm during a case? Actually, yeah, it is. It's really stressful. due to inactivity. Inactivity, no communication, no help or intervention. What help and intervention does she want besides wanting the judge to fix the case for her and direct her attorney on how to manage her file? Or answers being given by anyone in the justice system. You know, I think she wants answers, but she doesn't want the answer. Have you ever had someone ask you a question and you give them the answer and they don't like the answer, so they argue with you or they keep asking the question? I think that's what we're looking at. Honestly, what has been done about or with any of my letters? Exactly what you expect, Sarah. That's what's been done. Exactly what you expect. Other than being scanned, uploaded incorrectly. One time was incorrectly scanned. One time. But now it's sort of a global accusation. So that gives you some insight into how she thinks. You do something one time and that's what it is forever. I made sure to correct so everyone is up to speed. See? On my case status. So what's been done about or with any of my letters? Well, exactly what was supposed to be done. And she knows that. I could understand if she wrote one letter and was shocked that it was uploaded, if she just didn't know any better, but she knows. And now she's just right out addressing them to the public. Not just the American public, the whole wide world. Unfortunately, it is all I have to report at this time. What? Why are you allowing numerous case safety and protection elements to be breached, violated, manipulated? I wonder what she's talking about. Why has a gag order never been implemented? What? Did she ever request a gag order? Did she ever lay out the legal grounds to get a gag order? My case has turned into an unnecessary witch hunt. Oh, God. From the innumerable violations of my case details being leaked and racketeered illegally. She's actually using that very system to make sure that we're getting to read all these letters in exchange for website hits. Well, you know what? The news does that. We're going to take down the news. Didn't you say something before about, amendments? What about free speech? I guess it only applies to her. Viewer ratings, etc. In exchange for dollars. What is your cut, Your Honor? What? In exchange for dollars. What is your cut, Your Honor? She actually said that. Holy crap. Wow. Way to make friends and influence people, Sarah. Wow. You choose who knows what, where, and how in your courtroom. When did court minutes become live? Are you the one who authorizes the upload to the internet? It's all about how much rather than how did it happen. No matter the destruction caused in the meantime and is irreparable. This is beyond arrogant. I don't have words for this. And you know what destruction is irreparable? The destruction of Mr. Torres's life. It's not even about the suitcase anymore. It never was. It was about Mr. Torres. It was about a human being who lost his life. My case is now a global event with the video receiving over 3 million. She has to put in brackets the million because we don't know. Hits. Depending on the website, in turn making me realize that's over 3 million less unprejudiced, unbiased, non-discriminatory, fair jurors I will have access to on my case. The suitcase video, that's going to be shown to the jury. So having viewed that video or the interrogation or any of the witness statements does not make the potential jury unfair. The jury is going to see all that. And as she says, it's a world, like a global event. And these 3 million hits, are they all potential jurors or are they from all over the world? They're not going to the UK to get jurors. There are people who have no idea who Sarah Boone is. If famous people can face trial and they can find a fair and impartial jury for them, they can do it for Sarah Boone. You're not that famous, Sarah. How is that going to work? Now what? She is throwing everything at this, saying, well, I can't have a fair trial. The system is corrupt. The judge is corrupt. My attorney is terrible, ineffective assistance of counsel, everything's been delayed, there can't be a fair jury. I mean, what does she think is going to happen? That somebody's going to say, oh, okay, go home then. Factoring important private details should not be made ready and available for the world to know about before the defendant, does correct. I don't know what she's talking about. If there's a private detail, as in it's private because it's between her and somebody, so she already knows about it, so that can't be it. So what specifically is she talking about? What private detail that she doesn't know is being handed to the world? She's not saying this is wrong, unconstitutional, unfair, and not how justice is supposed to work for anyone. I'm tired of having motives attributed to me that are unreal, assumed, and inappropriate. This is not legal. Sarah, I refer you back to the history lesson you just gave us on the amendments. This is what a trial is for, correct? The trial is not to fix public opinion one way or the other. Evidence properly brought, admissible evidence properly brought at a trial and tested appropriately, where both sides get to present and argue. One would hope that in light of that, if it's necessary, people change their minds about their opinions. But really, the trial is not about what I think or what you think. The trial is about whether or not there is evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that proves she did what she's charged with. It doesn't matter what we think. It matters what the court says. She's very concerned about what everybody thinks. I think she can't handle what she did in her own mind. She cannot take responsibility for it. At this point, what can even be rightfully suppressed in my case? What is this about? Why does she want things suppressed now? Where is this coming from? I don't know what she wants suppressed. Once you ring the bell, it cannot be unrung. Yep. It's already been heard and seen. I don't even know where the bell is or who's ringing it. You are, Sarah. You send letters to the public, and then when they're incorrectly uploaded so that people don't see everything that you wrote, you get upset about it and want to make sure that's corrected. When do I, the main component in my case, I suggest to you, Sarah, that yes, you're a major component of your case. But Mr. Torres is an important piece of this. And Mr. Torres's family is going along without this closure, without this finalization at the end of this trial. In my case, actually get to know, see, hear everything everyone else already has. When am I going to be included also? When is the next status hearing? You stated what happened before my PTC 7/11/23. My attorney's 1-year mark. Am I included? Fair. What else can I do to ensure the productivity, communication, incorruptibility? Maybe stop making crappy allegations and scolding people. Appropriation and intellectualization of my case. It is my right to know so I can begin or continue for true progress, big letters of any kind, to finally be succeeded. I'm sure that she's been told what she can do to help things progress. But she doesn't want to do those things because she's adamant that everybody see things the way she sees things. She doesn't want to change her behavior. She wants to micromanage everything. And the problem with some people like this, they get upset if they can't control how you think. And she's trying real hard. Attorney Frank J. Bankowitz, where are you? Our last in-person was February 15, 2023, 3 months. What is so important? Why does it have to be in person? 2, when is our next meeting? Remember, please, there are still time-sensitive matters pressing. She said this before. We've talked about this before. He knows what's time-sensitive, and he has to be on it. It's not going to be having a conversation with her. While he's sitting talking with her, he's not making phone calls and writing letters and doing the things he needs to do to get things done. FYI, in the 10 months of your representation, here are the 6 meeting dates which have occurred so you can see prospectively the massive time gaps in between while I've been sitting eagerly waiting, wondering. And she lists them and there are time gaps. But here is the thing. If you take all these letters and you put them together, you'll see that in these times where it looks like there's nothing, there were phone calls. And in the times where she's complaining there were no phone calls, there were visits. She's playing games. Why aren't you fixing either of the two phone numbers? Oh my gosh. You gave me upon your appointment back in July. Every time I ask you about it, it's a different excuse. Much progress can be had in a very expeditious manner if completed. Oh man. I beg to differ. I think if she had access to him the way she wants to have access to him, just at her whim, I think he'd never get anything done. I think the whole thing would be worse. He'd be running this way and that way and not being able to actually work because he'd be talking on the phone with her all the time. Why is it not almost a year later? Why do you keep telling me to call when you know they don't work? Well, maybe they do work. You know, you're supposed to leave a message. As said before, public defenders answer their calls in reply to mail. Yes, they do. Why are you unable or unwilling? Well, in fact, he has communicated with her. He has been communicating with her. She is spinning this in this particular way for the benefit of the public. Actually, let me rephrase, for the benefit of herself. See the difference it will make. Oh, good God. Our agreement made from one of my letters I wrote earlier this year after not hearing from you in a solid 5 months prior was to connect every 2 weeks. So it looks like he tried to deal with her complaining, right? Every 2 weeks with or without any significant progress. Okay. Why have you not been upholding this agreement? Even in a 15-minute video visit, if there's no progress, then, you can connect in a variety of ways. It can be something as simple as having the assistant speak to the client and let them know, there's, nothing going on, or this is what's happening. What do you talk about for 15 minutes to say, yeah, nothing's going on? Or, yeah, I'm still waiting for whatever. I'm still waiting for an expert. Remember, a phone call is another option and not as difficult technologically. A working number is needed, just one. Is every single client of Frank Bankowitz, every client complaining that his office phones don't work? If these two phone numbers don't work and never work, then he'd be out of business. No client would ever be able to call or leave a message or deal with the office. And how is it that he shows up in court and conducts trials if his office doesn't have working phones? What are your anticipated dates of completion for anything already discussed and will eventually? When do you actually show up for an in-person scheduled meeting? We've talked about this before. There are 1,000 little fires needing to be put out. Yeah, because you keep sending them, Sarah. You're holding the fire hose. Yeah, while she's pouring gasoline on the fire and throwing matches around. And now, for months, she's been sending letters, giving matches and lighters to the public. Here, public, get upset, set a fire. I'm an innocent victim. And when you set the fire, she'll go crazy because there's fire. Please see from my perspective the botched eye-rolling experience I am going through still, and how I believe anyone would act or do if in my slides doing the same. What would you do? It wouldn't be the same, because most people don't go through lawyer after lawyer after lawyer. And when somebody does, that's a big, glaring red flag about the client. Do not fault me in trying to make the best, most successful outcome possible for myself in every aspect. Honestly, that's understandable. Whether you like it or not, it's understandable. Except what she's doing is not proper channels, and she's playing games here. In every aspect, in the convoluted predicament I am in. Her story's convoluted. The predicament actually isn't, and have been over the last 3.3 years. I would rather be called a narcissist, pain in the ass, arrogant, strange, or whatever else anyone wants to waste their time to think of. Just don't call me a murderer, which I am not.
You can call me Ray, or you can call me Jay, or you can call me Johnny, or you can call me Sonny, or you can call me Johnny, or you can call me Ray J, or you can call me RJ, or you can call me RJJ, or you can call me RJJ Jr. But you don't have to call me Johnson.
And here we go, back to the real issue. And that is, she cannot accept what she did, that she did it, that she's responsible. No one knows me except for the ludicrous insanity that's been made up, mocked, edited, and spewed all over the internet. Yep. And it doesn't help that you put your letters on the internet. It's not me. What we saw in the video, that is you. That's you, Sarah. You did that. You admitted that you wanted to make him squirm. You wanted to punish him, and you did. You walked away. While he's begging for his life, you told him, F you. The detectives asked her at one point when he was begging and he was saying he can't breathe, why didn't you let him up? And she said, I felt like he was crying wolf. If the slide fits, honey. I am hoping and praying my highly anticipated day will come. Whenever that will be, it's God's timing. Here we go. I continue to wait, smiling. At least everyone will know I'm not sitting around eating bonbons watching someone. I didn't realize she was old enough to know that one. Application is the product of the lesson. Give me my chance appropriately, correctly, and fairly in court. Yes, that's what everybody wants. Yes. Unfortunately, my perspective of our justice system is incredibly dim and dull. I hope my very overdue blinding light has shone brightly for all to see a glimpse of how it really works. And being a system, we all have to work together to function in unison. Wait, my overdue blinding light. Oh, good heavens. Do you hear angels singing? And work together. She doesn't work together with anybody. Please help. See the difference I'm trying to be and make. She is not trying to make... What is she trying to make a difference in? She's trying to make a difference in her own well-being. That's it. We're still not hearing anything about Mr. Torres in any of her letters. Even if she didn't want to admit guilt, she could still extend some sort of compassion. But no, it's like he's not even in her brain. It's all about her. And it has been about her since the very beginning. Since the time that she wanted a smoke and a Dr. Pepper instead of doing CPR. Waiting and wondering. Keeping it real. No, you're not. Now what? I know some people are not happy with me because I have become less sympathetic to her. And the reason I've become less sympathetic is not because I don't believe in a fair trial, because I do. Everyone should have a fair trial. And that right should not be taken away from anyone, no matter what they did, no matter how unlikable they are. And I think that efforts are being made to make sure she gets a fair trial. Delays have been permitted in order for the defense to get an expert. This battered spouse defense that she's going to use is relatively new in this case. So she's been granted delays. There have been delays for other reasons that aren't her fault, and some of it's questionable. So efforts are being made to make sure that she gets a fair trial. My issue is not with any of that. I'm not saying the opposite of any of that at all. What I'm saying is that she sold the public some snake oil, and we all have to decide if we're going to drink this or if we're going to actually look at the evidence and seek other information or have the allegations properly proven in a proper form. In this letter, she has alleged that the judge is getting a cut of website hits? Come on. Are you believing her? I think we should all be careful of what we swallow. So I think I'm not going to drink this. Thank you for listening.